Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson is confused. Some scammers work on their own. Some scammers work in groups. Some scammers are very good at what they do. Some scammers have absolutely no idea. And some groups of scammers apparently have absolutely no idea either. I usually only make videos about scammers who try to scam my alter egos by asking them for money. Mark Johnson never got that far. He didn't have the brains to ask for money. In fact, he didn't really have any brains at all, and he was too good to let go. So I hope you enjoy this random dose of silliness. He asked Serafina where she came from, and she asked him where he came from. He said, "I'm an engineer." "What kind of engineer?" asked Serafina. "Marine engineering," he said. "That sounds complicated," she said. "What do you do as a marine engineer in the country he'd just told her he was in?" "I'm a captain," he said. "Captain of what?" asked Serafina. "I'm captain of workers who import goods from one country to another." "Oh," she said. "I thought you said you were a marine engineer." "I'm a captain," he said. "I import goods on water." "So you aren't a marine engineer," she said. "You're a ship's captain." "YH. Are you married or single?" "What does YH mean?" asked Serafina. "I'm single." "OK," he said. "What does YH mean?" she asked again. "Are you a ship's captain or a marine engineer?" "YH means yes," he said. "So you aren't a marine engineer," she said. "It's OK," she added. "You don't need to try to impress me. Just say you work on a ship. I don't mind." "Yes," he said, "I work on a ship." And I'm sure you're all dying to know where in the world his ship is. The bit that I covered up a few seconds ago so that you couldn't see it. Before I tell you, I'll give you a couple of seconds to see if you can guess. If you got it right, do leave a comment down below, because I expect one or two of you will actually get it. Yes, that country with a well-known coastline, Afghanistan. Realising that every scammer needs a sob story, he thought he'd better tell one. "I am a widower for 4 years now," he said. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," said Serafina. "Do you have children?" "I have one daughter," he said. "How lovely for you. How old is she?" she asked. "She's 12. "You must miss her when you're at sea. How often can you go home?" "I've been in the work for over 30 years now, and this is the last of all. I want to retire." "Then you can be with your daughter," said Serafina. "Will you get another job?" "No," he said. "I want to open a company." "What will your company do?" asked Serafina. Then he went quiet. Realising that he wasn't up to the job of actually answering any questions, our man apparently handed his phone to a mate. His mate came back and said, "Sorry, I didn't answer your text when you asked me what kind of engineer." "I'm an engineer into oil and gas, repairing of spoilt pipelines, construction of roads and bridges, and also work in an oil rig." "My goodness," said Serafina. "First you're a marine engineer, then you're a ship's captain, then you just work on a ship, now you're a pipeline engineer." "I'm a spiritual lady," said Serafina, "and my spiritual guide tells me you're a man with spiritual issues. He's telling me you might be in a mental institution because you have difficulties with reality. It's OK, darling. You don't have to pretend with me. You can tell me what your problems are. I might be able to help you. I can light some of my special candles for you." "I don't understand what you're saying," said our man or men. "I told you I was busy. That's why I mistakenly said yes when you asked me if I was a marine engineer. But I'm done with what I'm doing now." "She didn't ask you if you were a marine engineer, mate. You said you were." Serafina said, "You've told me you're a marine engineer, and a ship's captain, and a worker on a ship, and a pipeline engineer. The thing is, darling, it doesn't matter if you're making it up. I understand mental issues." "That's when I went to our conversation and found out that I made a mistake," he said. Serafina said, "You don't have to pretend with me. I can help bring you peace and harmony. If you tell me which mental hospital you're in, I can send spiritual healing to you." "Do I really look like one?" he said. "Oh," she said, "you can't tell by looking if someone has mental health issues. It's very common, and it's nothing to be ashamed of." "Are you in hospital in Ottawa?" she asked. At the start of the conversation he'd told her that he came from Ottawa. "Or are you just a regular worker on a ship, like you said earlier?" "You don't have to pretend, darling. There's nothing wrong with being an ordinary ship's worker." "I don't really understand what you're trying to say," he said. "Are indirecting insulting me, or what?" "I'm not insulting you, darling," she said. "I'm trying to help you. You've told me so many different stories. You said you're a marine engineer, then you said you're a ship's captain, then you said you just worked on a ship, and then you said you're a pipeline engineer. You can't be all of those things, can you, darling? So it's okay to tell me what you really do. I won't mind. I have really told you, he said. I'm an engineer, into oil and gas, repairing with sport pipelines, construction of roads and bridges, and also work in an oil rig. OK, darling, she said. We'll say you're a pipeline engineer, that's OK. Where in Afghanistan are you? At which point, our men disappeared. I think they probably realised scamming wasn't quite as easy as they thought it was. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another Keep Safe on the Net video on YouTube.